By the end of the video today, you're going to know how to implement a cold email go-to-market strategy so you can 10x the growth of your business. The goal of this video is to give you peace of mind and a logical strategy to help you investigate different markets in different geographies to start nailing down to find your niche so you'll be able to scale your business accordingly. Before we get into the video today, let's just talk about what common practice is in this area. Because cold email is so easy to implement, what people do is typically they will find a list of 100, 200, 1,000 potential leads and just put them into an outbound email sequence with no real thought about approaching the market in a systematic way to start isolating variables and get down to their specific niche where they have a better chance of converting customers more often. So what we're going to do today is investigate how we can do that in your business, and I'm doing this exact thing for my clients. If you haven't seen my video on how to estimate your effort needed to hit your yearly revenue targets, I recommend you pause this video now and go back and have a look at it, because what it does is tells you exactly how many outbound sequences you need to do on a weekly basis to give you a chance of hitting your goals. So for this particular example, my outbound will just flick across to my sales activity calculator, and I need to hit with a revenue target of $400,000 with an average deal size of $3,000 in annual revenue. I need to send out 94 sequences a week to find 134 clients. So we're going to work off 100 for this example. We have options in a business. If you're a startup and you're looking to go to market, you're just implementing your go-to-market strategy, you have variable options that you can test in a market. So what I've done is I created this illustration to give you an example of the variables that you may want to look at when approaching different market segments. So in a particular market, we're looking at tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1. And with that, the total addressable market would expectedly decrease, and then you'll also expect revenue to increase, but your competitors to change, their buying process to change as you go up the tiers as well. So what we want to do to create a systematic approach so you know what's working over time and start isolating the right conditions to give you a better chance of success is we want to first go in and have a look at the variables for each tier. So in this example, in a tier 3 industry that I'm using for today, I have some different geographies that I might want to test. I have New York, Los Angeles, Brisbane, Australia, Sydney, Australia. I also have industries that I might want to target for retail, agencies, coaches, and coffee shops as an example as well. And then the different variables here as well. Now the variables or the characteristics that you can search on will largely be dependent on the software that you use, because there's no point putting variables in where you can't actually search on them in a later date. So for this example today, what I'm using is I'm using the Apollo platform, and I find it quite comprehensive. So if I search on people here, what I can do, it gives me all the list of variables that I can look at, and that's what I've used today. That's tier 3. Now we go to tier 2, the same variables, the same geographies, except for California. We've expanded that because I'll talk about that in a minute. And then we've got our industry size has gone from 100 to 500. We're back on tier 3. The smaller companies, I've gone from 1 to 10 and 11 to 20 as an example. And then also the problems are slightly changed as we go up a tier. So managing staff, operational efficiency, brand growth. And the competitors may also change. Competitor A and B in this example, and competitor X and Y. Then in tier 1, what I've done is I've gone broader, again for the geographies, because you would expect less tier 1 clients. So I've put United States, Australia, United Kingdom, specifically in the retail industry, size of organization between 2,000 and 10,000 plus. Now you would expect the decision makers to change as well, because in that size organization, you would have potentially CEO, the founder may have moved on from that business, or in addition, and then you might have chief operating officer as well. And then the problems in the tiers might change as well. And then again, your competitors. So in your business, ask yourself, what tiers am I going for in my market? Now, in your first instance, if you're just starting out as a startup, maybe you want to just focus on businesses in your region so you can meet them face to face in the first instance. Or if you have to travel to site, it's far easier to do that in the geography that's really close to you. or maybe you want to go to another geography like New York, has far more clients per capita, far more people per capita, has far more people in that city than other cities. So you may be able to travel there and see 4, 5, 6, 10 clients at a time, but it depends. So just think about your target markets that you want to test and fill this out accordingly. You'll be able to download a copy of this as well, so be able to fill this out in your own businesses also. So let's use tier 3 as an example. So I've taken all those variables. Now what I've done is I've come across and I've named specific searches based on those conditions. So tier 3, this is a saved search in Apollo, _ New York, retail industry, employee count 1 to 10, owner. Now the list size in there, or the search size, is 766, which in your industry may be a great test case. But again, you're thinking about just in New York, how many capital cities are there all around the United States? Then you can start broadening that out later on from the West Coast or the East Coast, all the way to the West Coast, or whatever works for your business. Then also maybe just testing, maybe the manager might be the person that I need to speak to, and then testing that out. In this case, the list is 939. Now going down again into tier 2, I've done the same thing. I've created my saved search. I've extended that to California because the list size in Los Angeles was too small. It was only like 60. So I broadened that out to California and it increased the list to 200. So I've got a decent sample size. You might want to think about that as well. And then going down to tier 1 as well, what I've done is retail, USA for a broader market from 2,000 to 10,000. Again, you can segment that down a little further. And the retail industry, the CEO is my targets, and there's 873 target people that I can put into my sequence to test the market so I know what's working. So once we do that and you start breaking that down, in each one of these, you can just look, you could have 10 different lists. So remember, we need to send out 100 emails a week or sequences a week to hit our revenue goals of 400,000 at 3,000, and your business will be different. So in this example here, what I've done is I've taken two examples of a sequence that I might want to test in the industry. So this is for tier 1. And what I've done is I've created a naming convention. This one is tier 1. I want to talk about the business problem we solve, which is minimizing risk. I want to use a short email opening in a 4 email sequence. And I also want to test, does that market resonate with operational efficiency more than minimizing risk? So I've created a tier 1 list, operational efficiency, which is my main theme of the message, the problems we solve. Again, it's a short email. You may want to have an extremely short email, a medium email where you go into a little bit more detail, and maybe a larger email, but you test the different sequences to see what resonates also. And then this one again is a 4 email sequence. So once we do all that, we've got the lists, you build out the right sequences. Now what we want to do is add people into each one of those sequences on a week-to-week basis to start testing how the market is receptive to our message and seeing if we can highlight any markets where there could be a higher opportunity than others. One of the biggest challenges with any startup is when you create a business, particularly in B2B, you could have 10 or 15 markets that you could enter, but all those markets are different. They're different drivers, they're different political pressures, different states of business cycle from recession to expansion. It could be different problems that are presenting themselves in those industries. So what we're trying to do is find that line where your unique value is uniquely suited to each one of those industries, so you can go, right, that thread of value is working here. Now, how do I expand that? So in this particular case, what I've done here is now I've scrolled into the weekly campaigns. So what I'm setting up on a week-to-week basis, I'm sending out 4 different sequences, testing different scenarios of the list that I've created. Now, in this particular case, what I'm using is this list name that I created above, with size of the sequence is 25. The sequence name is operational efficiency. And then as this goes out over the 3, 4, 5 week timeline of the sequence, now as this goes out over the timeline, I'll start getting replies, then I'll get leads from those replies, and then potential clients as well. So what I'll do is systematically and methodically just add those in every week. If my goal is 100, then maybe I'll do 100, or you could do 120 to go above your goal, but do it on a week-to-week basis. So if you feel like you're getting feedback from the market and it's not working, you can slightly change your message, slightly change the sequence, so you can actually start getting closer to finding your right market. So in this example here, what I've done is I've sent all these sequences out for week 1. Now we're going back through here so we can see in tier 2 in California, the retail market has actually shown some interest, and I've actually got 5 leads from 13% reply rate. So that's an industry that I might want to start drilling down into. Also in tier 3 in New York, in the retail industry, owners from the size of 1 to 10 are showing interest as well. And I've got 3 leads, and I've got a little bit of interest from tier 1s, 2 leads from an 8%. So they're starting to highlight what potential interest is being shown in the market. Now, what you can do here further is you can, if you're running these sequences and they're starting to show, you can start breaking out these sequences or these lists further. Maybe it's, is that just isolated to California? Or maybe you want to start adding in other capital cities in your country, and you can start broadening that out to other states or other cities to see if you're getting the same result. If you're not, then maybe it's at the retail sector, and you can start changing those variables as well to get consistent results. And once you get dialed in on a particular sequence or a particular approach, then you can start scaling. But it's using that data that you're learning from this methodical approach. If you don't do that first, it makes it a real challenge to scale. That's just an example of how to start creating a proven cold email strategy for go-to-market for startups. Now, once you dial in, you'll be able to 10x your growth with half the effort. So if you really like this video today, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button. It will send a message to me that I'm on the right track and you found this valuable. My goal with this channel is to add significant value in sales and lead generation strategy for B2B businesses. And I'll be delivering regular content, so I really hope you come back again. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.